You give me some moldy shower curtain stuff. Oh, that mug might touch me. Dope. Like, bro, we threw snowballs at Santa Claus. You think you scare me? Like,
I know if I ever go to trial, I need a character witness. Take Coley off
the list.
Yeah,
There he
off
is.
the list.
Yeah.
Right there.
And it turns out this dude thought I was Darius Rucker. He thought I was Rudy and the Blowfish.
Cut to it, cut to it, let's get down to it. Cut to it, cut to it, cut to it, let's get down to it.
Bro, this all
Wow.
and
That's how
no,
it
this ain't even this is just what I had out for like an upcoming trip.
An upcoming trip. How long
Yeah.
you go?
Burlington sock puppets.
Oh, the sock puppets.
Okie, Jacksonville jumbo shrimp, but that's the Miami Vice edition.
Okay.
Yeah, Crabzilla.
Now, so the real question is, what's Crabzilla? I got to get that for my boy. Where's Crabzilla?
Right here, yo, Crabzilla. Let me show you. This is how deep I've gone. So you know, Bubba Watson owns the Pensacola Blue Wahoos.
Oh, really?
So this is their alter ego, and it's so deep. I got the hold up.
What do you say, Crabzilla?
Yeah, Crabzilla.
Crabzilla.
Who's
Your boy brought the whole uniform. Check out the pants. Got the crab on the booty. I surprised Bubba and showed up at a golf the event wearing the whole uniform. Played golf with him wearing the whole shamalama ding dong. So yeah, when I say I got probably 90 jerseys, maybe 100 jerseys, and probably 150 of the hats, bruh.
Wow.
It's a sickness.
Yeah, well, like we go to Augusta for the Masters. Augusta got the Augusta Green Jacket baseball team. Well, guess what their alter ego is? Pimento cheese sandwiches. Hell,
Oh, I got to see that hat. Let's see.
bro,
that
I don't
hat.
even think for a minute I ain't rocking no pimento cheese sandwich hat.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I like that. I like the Crabzilla better though.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Michael Collins, we appreciate you coming on the Cut to a podcast. Man, we just want to know who you are, what you stand for, and just be yourself, man. Just be yourself.
Number one, I appreciate you having me on, and it's cool knowing your journey as well, and especially your journey into golf. So I can't wait until me and you can tee it up and play it sometime.
And I got to introduce my co-host, Coley.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on. I was reading your timeline a little bit. We might butt heads at one point. I'm a Boston guy, so
I see your Red Sox hat. You know I'm
natural friction.
Yeah. I'm sorry, not sorry about that Super Bowl. Whatever, y'all win enough. Shut up.
1-1. I'm not
I
too
know
worried
we
about
1-3. I don't even want to talk about it.
All right. Well, we'll say the football talk, man. But listen, I like to do this thing called Iced Up. I'm just going to ask you random questions.
Okay.
Just kind of icebreaker, get you to loosen up a little bit. You know, not every guest is always free flowing like you. So it's an extreme pleasure. So first question, what's the longest amount of time or days that you've gone without taking a shower?
Oh, without taking a shower?
Yeah. 3,
maybe
Why?
4. 3, either 3 or 4.
Why 3 or 4? And how is that a possibility that you know that?
It was, I was in a place where the shower was so nasty. I was more comfortable being dirty than getting in that shower and thinking I might need a tetanus shot after the fact.
Was that prison?
Like, I had them, I had them things. Yeah, dude wipes makes that thing, the big one where you can like wipe your whole self down, bruh. Your boy went through a few of those because I was like, I'm not getting in that shower. That mug right there, like, nah. That's the only thing I asked for as a caddy. Just like, just give me a clean bed and a clean shower. I've dealt with nasty floors before, whatever. But if you give me some moldy shower curtain stuff, oh, that mug might touch me. Dope.
What are they? Is this what happens to all caddies? They're giving you guys a terrible room and board.
If I ever write a book, that's gonna be the title to my book. It would be Caddie Hotel, and every floor would be a different chapter.
Oh my gosh! Oh, all right. So we got to hear about that, the caddy life, because I don't think a lot of people know, but we gonna get into that. All right, your favorite city to do comedy?
Oh, to do comedy?
Yes.
Oh man, that's hard, bro. That's so hard.
Or top two then, since it's
all right. So the top two would be Philly, number one, because it's so close to home. And if you killing it, if you murdering it for a Philly crowd, you know what you're doing is bananas good, right?
Because so the Philly comedian crowd is just as tough as the Philadelphia Eagles sports crowd.
Yes.
Because they're not two different types of crowds. They're consistent.
The football, because they suit blue collar. This is what I tell people about when people are like, yo, I can't believe you wearing that Eagles jersey here in this city. I'm like, bro, we threw snowballs at Santa Claus. You think you scared him? Like, what? Yeah. We got a jail with a judge assigned to it under our stadium. What you think you gonna do? Like, nobody hates the Eagles more than Eagles fans either. Like, ain't nothing you can bring to the table that we ain't seen or heard or said to each other. So it's the same in comedy. It's such a blue collar city as well, and a city that has always kind of felt like the redheaded stepchild because we're so close to New York and Boston and Baltimore and DC, and so it's like it's one of those cities that always felt kind of like, yo, we the city of brotherly love that kind of gets ignored a little bit, which is gonna put a little chip on your shoulder. So if they spend their hard cash on coming to a comedy club and you ain't bringing it for them, they're gonna tell you. Like, so I love that city. Probably one of the most underrated comedy cities is Charlotte. Charlotte is an underrated comedy city. You go there and people are like, you know what's hard to do? It's hard to make people in the financial district laugh, right? That's not an easy, you would think it would be a real easy thing, but like corporate people can be a pain in the behind to make laugh because of, like, it's not, they're so fake all the time. A lot of corporate people got to be so fake all the time that like they don't want to give
who
up.
They are.
Yeah, they don't want to like give up laughter real easy. So when you get that kind of crowd going, it's very rewarding.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's like, that's so hard because there's so, I don't know, man. Our country is so amazing and so diverse in how comedy crowds are. So to like go there and rock crowds, it's different rocking a crowd in New Orleans than it is rocking a crowd at West Palm Beach. And it's different rocking a crowd in Charlotte than it is in Wisconsin, like in Milwaukee. So it's there are so many different challenges to each one of those. And that's one of the reasons why like comedy still means so much to me. Is why people ask, like, if you had to pick comedy or golf? I'm like, nah, man, comedy, like golf has my heart and comedy has my soul. It's never going to be out there.
All right. So last one. What would you rather milk? A man lactating, a cow. I mean, not a cow, a camel, or a goat?
A goat all day.
Okay.
If a man is lactating, bro, I don't even want to know that. If one of my boys was like, hey man, can you come here for a second? I'm the friend that's going to be like, bro, we going to the doctor and you sit in the back seat. Like, don't talk to me. Don't sit somewhere where I can't even see you in the rear view mirror. You know what I mean? Like, we need to go get this fixed immediately. Yeah, immediately. Like, you wearing 3 shirts too. Like, I don't know. Nah. Camels are mean. Like, camels can be real mean and they will bite you in a heartbeat. Like, nah. So trying to milk a camel, and camels are hard to read too. You don't know. A camel can look like it's cool.
Where did you read that camels are hard to read? Like
I'm just saying, can you tell when a camel ain't having it?
no.
That's all I'm trying to say. So you just milking along. Hey, we good. Hiya. And then they're big enough. That mouth is big enough to bite your whole head. Like how you gonna explain camel teeth marks going down? Y'all was trying to milk this camel and bit me in the face, bro. Right? Where a goat, you ain't got to worry about that. You good. You know what I mean?
You can read a goat, is what you're saying.
All I'm saying is I have never heard about no milking accidents when it comes to goats, right? You're like, I read this story last week that this dude got tore up when he was trying to milk a goat. Like, nope, you never heard that. Because goats all know too. Goats they're not gonna do nothing stupid. Because just 2 days ago, I had goat biryani, right? Goats know if you mess up, you in a meal.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right. So that was an actual meal, the goat biryani, because I had no idea what that was.
Goat biryani? Yeah, man. Are you
What
kidding?
is that?
I'm married to my wife was born in Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah. And goat biryani that's a rice Indian dish that's real spicy. It's delicious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's good. It's
All
real
right.
good.
So, we know you from Philly, but we're gonna ask you anyway. What's your what's the place you call your hometown and why?
I'm born and raised in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is outside of Philly, about an hour and 10 minutes down the turnpike. It's kind of in between Philly and Harrisburg, the capital.
Okay.
Still considered central eastern Pennsylvania. And that's where I call home, man. But a lot of people, they only know Lancaster. They hear Amish and stuff. So I tell people, I got kicked out by the Amish because I had cable TV hooked up in the barn. I had a horse and buggy, but I had it lowered, had ground effects on it. It was badass now.
So obviously growing up there, in Lancaster, how did your upbringing influence you?
I was raised by a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
Lived in the inner city part of town. Was a Boys and Girls Club kid. Shout out to the Boys and Girls Club. I just got inducted last year into the Boys and Girls Club Hall of Fame, which was still to this day probably one of the greatest honors of my life.
I'm not trying to make light of it, but like
come on, man.
Exactly what in the Boys and
parameters?
Girls Club Hall of Fame, like, because I don't.
How many yards did you have to rush for to get in there?
I know, like is it academic?
And I went in with Leonard Fournette too. So man, how you going? Yeah,
I'm just asking.
Denzel was there, and Magic was. I mean, come on, man.
Okay. So
yeah.
what was
because of one of the greatest honors, Steve's like,
there was a naval
I know, but what? Like you went in as a good Samaritan?
Just as somebody who, like with most Boys and Girls Club. I mean, how many?
I was not in the Boys and Girls Club, so I'm not sure. That's why. That's why I'm asking.
Well, that's the thing. The importance of the Boys and Girls Club is you take kids that are in situations where they're not supposed to make it. You're not supposed to be super duper successful and famous, and now these kids that wouldn't have necessarily had a chance in life to do spectacular things, they are at a place with people that give them hope.
Okay.
And that hope then turns into success, and that success can turn into really big success, and not just in sports. It can be in journalism, or it can be in being in the Navy. It can be in starting your own business. I mean, it was crazy. Like one of the other people that went in with me was the first African-American female NFL referee.
Oh, okay.
I mean, so it's the list of accomplishments of Boys and Girls Club kids that are in the Hall of Fame now are phenomenal. It's one of the reasons why Denzel is so invested in it.
Wow. And so that's obvious, I'm assuming, but because you were raised and participated in the activities and the services that the Boys and Girls Club provided.
Yeah, big time.
Okay.
Big
Okay.
time.
So
Boys
that's
and Girls
what
Club kid. Yeah,
that's why I wasn't trying to like be funny or anything like that, because
right.
The Boys and Girls Club of the East Coast, for me growing up, that was equivalent to either being a latchkey kid, going to after school program, or we had the Urban League, right? And so I wasn't in the area in Los Angeles with the Boys and Girls Club, so I wasn't exposed to it. I didn't have the opportunity, so I wasn't necessarily sure, because a lot of times when we associate Hall of Fame, we associate athletics.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And until you said that, I was like, well, I don't want to assume athletics, but I've also never heard of the Boys and Girls Club Hall of Fame. So I really wanted to make sure that I heard you right.
No, it's cool.
And
I know you see me and you see you, but you built like a bowler. What are you talking about, Hall of Fame? I feel you. I see how this is, though. It's cool. It's fine. You don't be like that. Okay.
Listen, try doing a show with them all the time. That's all I get.
You see what I'm saying?
Week after week.
My! Is this a victim? Wow.
Just saying, repeat behavior. That's all I'm saying.
Wow. Okay. Let me see.
Not the first time that I feel this ain't the first time that a guest has been like, for what?
Oh. Well, I know if I ever go to trial, I need a character witness. Take Coley off
the list.
Yeah,
there he
off
is.
the list.
Yeah.
Right there. there.
Look, I'll be a character witness, but I'll be the one. Yo, for real, senior, he ain't know. He ain't know. He ain't know.
Man, so just growing up, you grew up Lancaster, you go ahead, Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
And just kind of walk us through, like, when you started to realize, like, I knew at a very young age, I always wanted to play ball. I wanted to play football, right? What was the trend? How did you become Michael Collins as doing golf, doing comedy, just being yourself?
Golf was never a
Yes.
part of it, but I knew from a very young age, entertainment was what I wanted to do, and it was comedy for me. Like, so when I'll never forget the moment. I was probably 5 years old. My mom and my grandparents took me around Christmas to it's called the Fulton Opera House. It's a huge performance place in Lancaster, right in downtown, and the Nutcracker was on, right? And so I might even been younger than that. It probably been 4 or 5, because I was on my grandfather's lap. And like, I never forget when the house lights go down, the performance is about to start, and the first dancer comes out, and it's a male dancer, and he's wearing like the tights and all that stuff. And I see the tights, and I was like, and I said it loud enough because it's silent in there. And I go, "Hey, Papa, you can see his hiney." And the whole opera house exploded with laughter. And even the dancer smiled.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll never forget knowing, even at that young of an age, that I did that.
Right.
That I made all of those people laugh. And it was one of those. And then later on, my mom would let me stay up late and watch like the old Saturday Night Lives back in the day.
When they were really good.
Bruh, when it was like Steve Martin, like Richard Pryor, like what the original back in the day, Chevy Chase, John Belushi, like when it first came out, and it was just every Saturday night, it was Murderers Row. And I'll never forget like seeing how much it made my mom laugh. And I was like, man, I want to do that. Like, I want to be able to make my mom and people laugh. And so later on, when I was 20 years old, there was a comedy club in Lancaster, PA, and they had an open mic. And my friends started bugging me because they were like, growing up, I was the class clown, all of that. And they were like, yo, you got to go do these 5 minutes on stage. And I was like, nope, not doing it. And they kept bugging me. I'll tell you why. This is the truth of why. And I've only ever told people this once before. It's because comedy was my dream. And if I went up on stage and did 5 minutes and didn't do well, there goes my dream. And now what? Where at least if I didn't go on stage, I could hold on to that dream, because I can't fail. You can't fail if you don't go for it. You also can't succeed. But after a while, like, my boys would not leave me alone. And so finally I was like, all right, look, I'm going to do this one time. Don't tell nobody. I'll get up and do 5 minutes. And I never forget, it was the first time I ever threw up before I went on stage. It was the only time I ever threw up before I went on stage. And the MC, he was like, all right, it's the dude on stage, and then him, and then you. You good? And I was like, yeah. And as soon as he walked away, I ran to the bathroom, was like, ugh. And I was, man, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I went on stage when they called me up, and I couldn't feel my hands. I couldn't feel my feet. And I had this little piece of paper, and I told my first joke. And like, I'm sure you've experienced this too. Like, it's fight or flight.
Yes,
when
sir.
you're in those moments where you're at your highest stress level, I'm sure for you on the field, time slows down.
Yeah.
It's like everything's in slow motion, real slow motion.
The only bad thing about that for me, personally, that time slows down. Time didn't slow down until I actually started to see it actually start to become good. For me, I could never run fast enough. Almost like my body parts, my hamstrings tightened up. Like I could never open up. Like
you felt like that nightmare when you was in sand.
Yes, like I couldn't open up. So that's the crazy part. Like when time for football, for me, the football player.
Yeah.
Slowing down time is when I'm in a zone and the ball becomes, that's when they say he or she can't miss. He or she won't drop a pass.
Right.
Because now it's like,
right. You feel like that squirrel that drinks a little bit of coffee.
Yes.
And everybody else is like, what?
Yes.
Right.
And you just going like, it's things that I was able to see.
You can read the ball when it's spinning and
bro,
stuff.
you be like, Wilson, 1957.
Right. Is that lace is just a little off the left-hand side.
Look at Agnes. She done got it wrong again. Right. But that's the slowing down. The nervousness though that you've experienced.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this. So I tell you, don't tell a lot of people. So come on in closer.
Come on.
Man, I used to have to take Tums before every game for at least about 16 years because the anxiety I could like burp and taste last week's meal. Like I was a super hiccup or sneeze away from just
it's all
everything. So for me, bro, like the anxiety of performance, like when I used to off season do heart rate stuff. My heart rate be at 150, slowing down after. He said, get online. I would do my conditioning test, get online, shoot up to 178, 180, just because of anxiety.
Wow.
So
that's amazing that you control it. Well, that was my thing. Like I stepped on stage that very first time. And when I told that first joke, I hit the punchline and time had slowed down so much in my head. Like I hit the punchline and to me, nothing happened.
Wow.
So I hit that punchline and that little dude on this shoulder is like, see, I told you you shouldn't have done this. This is right here. Why you think you're funny. You're not really funny. You got no business up here on stage. And then the guy on this shoulder was like, nah, stop, man. Don't think like that. Blah, blah. And as those two are starting to argue on my shoulders, I hear something that sounds like thunder. And I was like, man, that's a weird kind of sound. And this is all in my head within a second. Yes. And then like the whole bust out and it literally the laugh hit me and I could feel when it hit me in the chest. And it was like, okay, and then both of those dudes was gone. Wow. And it was like, let's go. And I took the mic out the mic stand for the first time, moved the mic stand. I do my 5 minutes, put the mic, say thank you, put the mic back in. The place is going crazy. I walk off stage and I go back to where the bar area is. And there's two other comedians back there, a dude named Bud Tanger and a dude named Lee Schaefer. I still remember their names. And they were pro comedians that were like working the local circuit at the time. And so I go back there and both of them are looking at me and then Lee goes, hey, how come we haven't seen you working the local circuit? Like, why haven't we seen you out at other comedy clubs and stuff? How long you been doing this? And I go, well, that was my first time. And both of them stopped and looked at each other and looked at me and said, you found what you need to be doing. And that was the moment for me. It was over. It was over.
That just hit you in the right spot.
I knew that. I knew that like what I had felt on stage was just verified by two guys that I looked at like veteran comedians who have been doing this for a couple of years and had seen some of the best guys coming through comedy clubs perform with guys that were like top level dudes. And they're telling me like, I'm just as good as those guys. Like that this is where I belong. And from that moment on, it was it. And so doing stand-up comedy then was like so natural for me. I still like you though, like right before my whole thing was right before I went on stage, like I'd be pacing, like my heart rate, I'm sure was at 180 or something like that. But it was only because it's like, yo, I don't care who's on stage. I don't care how bad they're killing or dying. Like move, it's my turn. Get out the way. Like I want to be up there on stage. I want my shot. And so like, it's the, and talking to other athletes, like in baseball, how you get those butterflies right before you go up to hit. It's not because you're nervous or scared. It's because you're like, yo, let's go. Like, I want to be up there. I think I can take this dude. Right. And so that was the energy and I still get that to this day. And the only time that things have gone horrifically wrong is when I don't have butterflies before I step on stage. I know if I don't feel that anxiety, something wrong.
So what has happened if you haven't had the butterfly?
I bombed. I bombed. I did a show. Well, I mean, and it's also circumstantial. So two of the times, once was in New Jersey in a bar that didn't even know that they were supposed to be doing a comedy show. So I was literally behind a bar. And they gave me a microphone and said, do 10 minutes, and then we're going to turn on the jukebox, and then we'll bring you back up to do another 10 minutes. And they were like, oh, it'll be different people. It was like 3 alcoholics that were regulars at that bar. It was horrible. And then the very first show I did on a cruise ship, I'll perform. This cruise line's not even around anymore. It was called Dolphin Cruise Lines. It was the Motel 6 of the sea, bruh.
The Motel 6 of the sea.
Have you ever been on a cruise?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you know how they got early seating dinner and late seating dinner?
Yes, sir.
Early seating dinner is like 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah. When people are still getting back from their excursion.
Unless you're 127 years old. Right? And so this cruise ship had that early seating dinner. And so the first night I'm on this ship, I got to perform at like 5 o'clock in the evening. And I'm looking out there and there's nobody under 90 out there. And this is how, so the cruise ship is this small too. They were giving people
under 90.
Bruh, they gave these people, the cruise ship was small, so it like every wave you was feeling it.
Yeah.
So they were giving all these old people walkers that had wheels and brakes on them, right? So I get up there and I start doing my thing, and this is early in my career. So I did a bit about how women fart better than men fart, right? So these people get offended, and they're like halfway back where the show is, and the door to leave is behind me. So now they get up to leave, okay? So now they holding this walker, and the walker lean back, and then they got to take 2 steps and wait. Here you go. And I'm just dying on stage. I mean, dying on stage. And so I'm already mad, and I looked at them and was like, y'all might as well sit down, because by the time you get to the door, I'm going to be done. The next act might be done, which you would think people would laugh. Nah, all these other old people they bust out the pen. They're writing, it's offensive, can't believe he's representing the cruise line, blah, blah, blah. So I walk off stage, and the cruise director is like, listen, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you just, we'll drop you. When we get to Jamaica, we're going to drop you off and pay you. And then you fly home. And I'm like, that's fine. So now I got to do the late seating dinner after that. And I was so mad. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and do the same thing, like word for word, just to prove that it wasn't me. Late seating dinner, I got standing ovation. The cruise director was like, you're not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere.
Wow. So it does matter based on your audience.
Well,
I don't know, because
90% of the time, no. 90 to 95% of the time, as someone who does performances, like I don't do the same show at a dive bar in West Virginia that I'm going to do at like Catch a Rising Star. Right? I don't have to do the same set because it's not the same type of crowd. So you know that going in, you know, like when you got to do crowd work, when you got to be ready for a heckler and all that kind of stuff. So it's like it's on me. It's on me to not blame the crowd and be like, well, it wasn't my fault. It was the crowd. No, most of the time, like I have to make the adjustments to get the crowd with me. That's the job of the comedian. Like I want to get you on board and take a journey with me. And if I don't do that, that's not your fault all the time. Most of the time, that's not your fault. That's my fault as a performer. And it's the same even now. Like I'm not gonna do the same commentary at the Masters that I'm gonna do at Waste Management, right? They're completely opposite events. So it's, you know what I'm saying? Like it's the same for you. Like there are different defensive backs that you going toe to toe with. You're like, look, I can't use the same technique against this guy that I do against this guy. Very similar to that. So where
were you at my career? That could have extended my career, man.
Can you imagine? You'd be like, hold up, the comedians over there saying things, bro.
That's dope. I guess, you know, I guess sometimes when we look at careers and we look at jobs, there's a lot of assumptions going on. Like, oh, I just go up there and tell a dirty, nasty joke, and whatever crowd is there,
they got to laugh no matter what.
Yeah, they got to deal with it. And so when you were talking, I had multiple conversations and questions going on as you were going that I wanted to shoot out. It's like, so how would you describe the requirements to be a successful comedian? Because when you were talking, I'm sitting there going, make them laugh.
Right.
It's just like ball players. catch the pass.
Tell a joke, dummy.
Make them laugh. Just make the catch. You'd be like, there are a lot of different factors that kind of go into that. You got a left-handed quarterback or a right-handed quarterback. Ooh, yes. Are you catching a fade or are you going across the middle trying to catch a bullet knowing you're getting a hit? Like there's all kinds of different factors that go into it. So the one thing that I always took from me a long time ago, I saw Joan Rivers on a show. And she was asked as well, like, how do you know you're going to be successful if you're a comedian starting out? And her answer, I think, is still true to this day. If you kill in 8 out of 10 rooms, 8 out of 10 comedy clubs you're killing, you're going to do just fine. You're going to do just fine because that means that you're making those adaptations and you're able to flow with crowds depending on the difference that the crowd is that's up there, what, you know, kind of how they enjoy the delivery. And there are real, like, you know, it's the same as making catches. There are really subtle things that if you explain to somebody who never played football, they would be like, yeah, okay, like you took one little stutter step with the left foot, right? Man, like, or you just put your left hand in a different, right? Yeah, you had time to think of that. Like it's subtle things like that when you're on stage and kind of flowing with crowds, only entertainers and comedians like get those feelings.
So like trying to put them together, football and comedy. So what's, you know, as a comedian, is there systems or philosophies that you go with? Like, you know, like in football, the West Coast philosophy, the, you know, run and shoot, you know.
Well, think about all the different styles of comedy.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't know the different styles of comedy because I, as a just a paying guy, right? I don't pay attention. For me, I'm not reading a book.
Yes, but here's the thing.
I'm looking for me. I'm a lazy. No, you're not. No, you're
not.
I'm a lazy comedian.
You're not thinking hard enough on this. Listen.
Okay.
You don't like just one style of music, right?
No, I do not.
Okay, so there's different styles of music that you can enjoy.
Absolutely.
So if you go to a comedy club, there's some dudes that are like, they'll just tell jokes the whole time. There are other dudes that'll be like Stephen Wright. Like that style of comedy is complete. Like Jerry Seinfeld's style is completely different to Kevin Hart, right?
And so what would you categorize? Like, is it a category?
My style of comedy was high energy observational. So I was I am now. Like I'm high energy and I just talk about whatever happens in my life. Like that was my thing. But then making adjustments, I'm still high energy observational, but I might need to slow down just a little bit depending on where I'm at. Or I may need to speed up a little bit depending on where I'm at. You know, or I might need to tell jokes. I might need to tag jokes harder. Or like in my act back when I was doing it full time, my act, there was probably 3 or 4 spots where I could drop a F-bomb. Like I tried to keep my act PG-13 because a comedian told me one time, like, can you be funny without cursing? Because that's going to get you on TV the fastest. Like cursing's easy. You can always curse. That's easy. It's easy to be dirty. It's easy to be dirty. Can you be funny without being dirty? Because if you're funny without being dirty, guess what? Everybody can use you. And so those are the kind of subtle things that, like, depending where I am, if I'm in a dive bar or something like that, and I need to drop an F-bomb to get the crowd, like, to grab them, then yeah, I'm going to do it. But it also then has a harder hitting effect where if you like, for me in entertainment, if you just drop, if you're cursing all the time, then it's hard to actually have a hard hit to it, right?
Yeah, it's true.
It's harder to have that hard hit because you've already used the cursing as a jab. So now you don't necessarily have the same right hook that you would have if you didn't throw all that cursing out there. And there are some guys that like you don't need stuff like that. Like there are plenty of dudes that I love. Some of my favorite comedians in the world, like they curse a lot and I'm cool with it. Like that's okay. And the audience is too, you know what you're getting. And that's fine as well. But when you're on the road, you got to make like little subtle adjustments to it. And that's part of the beauty of doing stand-up. And then you would think like, well, hold up. Stand-up then golf. Like what? Yeah.
This is Bandit. He founded Underdog Fantasy so that humans who really love sports could play with their friends and win some big prizes. Tell your human to go to underdogfantasy.com today.
That was crazy. I was in Hilton Head, South Carolina, and it was the week that the tournament was there. And this kid I went to high school with, he hit me up and was like, hey, man, are you here this week? You want to go to the tournament? And I was like, yeah, okay, well, let's go. And he was like, I got his tickets for Tuesday. At the time, it was 98. I was like, bro, I don't even think they play on Tuesday, bro. They're like, they ain't on TV. Back then, they was only on Saturday and Sunday. I was like, and he goes, oh, we can go watch him practice.
He said, ha.
Yes, we gonna watch golf practice, bro. How much? Hold this, bro. Golf practice. Don't be stupid. But then we walked in, and I was like, fine, we'll go. We walked in. This dude is putting and stops putting. Sees me and is like, oh, and comes walking over. It's like, yo, how you been? Long time no see. What's going on? I was like, no, I'm good. You doing a show? Yeah. I gotta come see you. We haven't seen each other. Okay. And he walks away. Now my buddy, who's an assistant pro and knows everything about golf, is like, you know Billy Andre? I'm like, I never seen that dude before in my life. And it turns out this dude thought I was Darius Rucker. He thought I was Rudy and the Blowfish 98 when Crack Rearview Mirror came out. So my first nickname for everybody on tour, they call me Lil Hootie. Some of the old school dudes still call me Lil Hootie. And my boy is freaking out. So we end up meeting a golfer and his caddy, Omar Uresti, and his caddy, who's his brother, caddy for him at the time. And we just
hold up.
Straight. A little casual racism sent your life in a completely different way. It's completely derailed it and sent it down a different path entirely.
Look, I was about 70 pounds lighter, had a hat on with a mustache, and hadn't shaved in a minute.
You're Darius Rucker cosplaying, is what you're saying?
This is how much me and Darius looked alike back in the day. We did an event together for Robert Gomez, and he walked out the room, and I walked in the room, and some lady came over and was like, oh my God, will you sign this for me? I'm so happy you came back in here. And I was like, I don't think you want me to. I'm not. She said, yeah, please. And I was like, okay. And I still signed it, but I know my signature.
What'd you sign as?
I just signed it DR. So, yeah.
Oh my God. That's so your career in golf started by he got the black guy confused because we all look alike.
Kind of, yeah. And then Omar Uresti and his brother, I met them and they knew a comedian who I had just performed with.
Did you
So
look
I
like
go-
him?
Huh?
Earthquake? Yeah, who? Yeah.
Nah.
Hey,
But then
if we
you're
gonna
like,
do
yo,
it, let's bat
yeah.
1,000, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
How did that
Bruh.
look
There's
like
Rucker.
Bruce, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, no.
no, it was crazy.
DC Curry.
Bro, can you imagine? You know how many times nowadays I get, yo, you look, when I had my mustache, they were like, you look like either Steve Harvey or the dad from Family Matters, who's now doing all them
Commercials,
AT&T
yeah.
or them, I forget, commercials.
Progressive.
Progressive, yeah. He doing,
Oh my
everybody
God.
was like, you look like the dad. Carl, yeah, I look like Carl.
Yeah.
The cop,
Oh.
yeah, him or Steve Harvey. When my mustache got real thick, was like, yo, you golf Steve Harvey. This is banana. But anyway, Omar and his brother Hoss end up coming to the show Tuesday night. They hooked me up with clubhouse passes.
Oh, dope.
I'm going back to the tournament every day. And by the end of the week, like 50 players and 100 caddies have been to the show. And I started booking comedy wherever the tour was going to be. So in the daytime, I was hanging out on the golf course. And at night, they were coming to the comedy club. And so whatever we were doing on the golf course, I would talk about on the stage then those nights. And then Tuesdays and Wednesdays, caddies during the practice rounds would be like, yo, you want to carry the golf bag? And I'd be like, yeah. Not thinking that stuff was 35 pounds when we was walking 7 miles.
Hey, you want to do my job for free?
Yeah, would you like to be my Sherpa? And they would call me the caddy's caddy. And then one week, Robert Gomez just called me up and was like, yo, I'm playing like shit and I'm not having fun. And I want to remember how to have fun on the golf course.
Wow.
Come caddy for me for the week so we can just goof off and have fun. And I was like, yeah, why not?
Hold on. Before you go into that. So let's break that down because basically he said, hey, my career is on the teetering, like my season's about to go down.
Yeah.
You can't really help me. So do you mind just watching the ship burn together?
Yeah, but this is what he said. And here's
I just want to make sure.
He was being inventive. He said,
yeah,
I'm trying the traditional stuff. Let me try at least have some fun.
Yeah, let me go ahead. Look, I know the captain's supposed to go down with the ship, but let me go ahead and make you second in command, and so I don't die by myself.
Yeah. Would you like to jump on this ship that got a whole bunch of holes on it? Come on. But look, if you want to know how crazy caddies are, that tells you right there. People like golfers are crazy. Not as crazy as caddies, because we know you nuts, and we still like, I'm coming. Yeah. Okay. But that was the thing. Like, for golfers, a lot of them, like, they forget a lot of times that golf is a game. So to stay in a good mind space and be happy on the golf course is a lot harder than what it looks. Because
that's my golf.
You only see the dudes that are playing good.
Yeah, right? That's my golf right there. I mean, all I got to do is have one or good two. Well, it's only actually 1 or 2 good shots, but the rest of the 9 or 18 holes, I am so upset at my clubs, the ball, the course, the sun.
You know what it is? As soon as you're like, yo, I used to have a hat that I sold at comedy clubs, and it said, I hate this game on the front with a little cartoon expletive in the background, and on the back it said, want to play tomorrow? Because that's right. As soon as you got your clubs on eBay, like I'm on the 15th hole, my clubs are already for sale. And then that's when you hit them 2 perfect, majestic shot, because you don't even care no more. And then as soon as you do it, you're like, see, I got this. Let me take the clubs off. They're not for sale no more. I'm playing. I got a schedule now.
Yes,
I golf schedule.
Yep. Three holes later.
Has called me. Like, he just was like, I need to remember how to have fun. I'm gonna tell you something. On the first tee, this is how crazy it was. On the very first tee we on, it's a par 5. We have gotten no practice rounds at all because the course had been underwater. So we weren't allowed to go practice round, no nothing. So we're on the first tee and it's go, like, for real. And I don't know what I'm doing. So my man walks over, he starts taking the head cover off, and as he's taking the head cover off, I look at him and I was like, yo, don't hit it in that sand trap down there, because like a pro. Coley laughing because he knows what's up. Like, Gomez looked, and I was thinking, why is he looking at me like that? You know, he hit it. It's a par 5. My man hits it right in the bunker. And he comes over, slams the club down, and I'm like, fool, I just told you not to hit it in that bunker because I'm
Hit it in the hole. There's a flag in it. Hit it right there.
You can't say. And I was like, now you tell me what to say. So we get down to that bunker, and I'm like, what you gonna do? And it's tight. It's like, because it rained so bad, so it's like hitting off of just the dirt
concrete. Yeah.
And I was like, what you gonna do? And he was like, I'm gonna hit a 3-wood in the front greenside bunker because this is a par 5, and I'm gonna get up and down for birdie. And I was like, fool, I just told you I don't know how to rake. You gonna hit it in 2 bunkers on the first hole? You know what? If you hit it in that greenside bunker, I'm gonna call immigration and tell them you're illegal. You're not even supposed to be here. And of course, now he's laughing, which I know, like, as a thing, I'm just thinking, like, how do I keep him loose and laughing?
Wow.
And as soon as he hits the shot, he's posing, and it's going right in that front greenside bunker. And I put the bag down, and I was like, yo, security, this Mexican he ain't got no papers. He's not supposed to be here. And he's laughing, and he's like, get your little bleepity bleep bleep in that bunker and learn how to rake. And now I realize, oh, shoot, there's 2 other pro golfers and their caddies over there. And they're looking at us like, what in the hell is going on? But me and him and at the end of that week, like, I got other dudes who were like, yo, call me when you got a week off from comedy. And that's when I started going to other caddies, and I was like, listen, man, like, I don't want y'all to think I'm doing this as a joke because I love the game. So teach me how to do this right. Like, teach me how to rake a bunker the right way and why you do it that way. Teach me how to walk off yardages. Like, what are you looking at when you're looking in that yardage book and, like, figuring out the numbers? What is that little paper that you have every day that tells you where the hole is and stuff? What all those numbers mean? Teach me how to do this. And I was lucky enough that because really good caddies knew that I wasn't taking golf as a joke when I was caddying, they really helped me and taught me a lot. And then other players were like, man, this dude doesn't just goof off on the course all the time. Like, there are specific moments when guys need to laugh but most of the time I'm serious. And there are some times when, you know, if I thought a guy needed a kick in the behind, I would let him be mad. Or I told one guy, John Elliott, once, I'll never forget, I was caddying, his nickname was Jumbo. And we were in Greenville, South Carolina. And he was bitching and complaining that hell, he's the worst wedge player in the world. He don't even know why he's out here on tour. And I had just had enough. So we get on this par 5, and he tries to, out of the rough, go for it in 2, pops it up, and has 100 yards left. And I know he's got to hit wedge. And we walked up, and he's like, I don't even know why I'm out here. And I slammed the bag down the ground and went, yeah, you suck. And he looked at me like I slapped him in the face. And I was like, you suck with them wedges, bro. Maybe you should try pro darts. We can go to a bar like And he literally looked at me, grabbed the wedge, and was like, F you, and hit it to 1.5 inches.
Wow.
On the next hole, I was like, he hits driver, and we only got 60 yards. And I was like, I don't know why you hit driver. We know how bad you suck with wedges. And now he's trying not to laugh. And he hits it to 2 feet.
Wow.
Another birdie. Next hole, number 11, par 3, 139 yards. I never forget this. And he looks at me, and I was like, well, it's got wedge in the name. What you gonna do? And as soon as it comes off the club face, I'm like, oh, don't go in the hole. Don't go in that thing. 2 hops, spins left, hole in 1.
Ooh.
And he's holding the pose. Now, the funny thing is it's Greenville, South Carolina. And at the time, it was a nationwide event. So there's like 8 people.
Yeah.
That were there and thought, but they going crazy. And he looks over at me, and I go, I'm the worst saying the word. I don't know. And he laughed and was like, F you, and throws the club, and I catch it, and we just go marching on. So it was like, it's all about, for me, that was the thing I loved, where I really fell in love with caddying, where it was the opposite of comedy. In comedy, it's me. I'm the boss. I'm the star. It's me, the microphone, the spotlight, and I got complete control out of everything. And as a caddy, I'm the servant. I'm the vice president. I'm the dude behind the curtain. Like, I'm the only other person that has influence on what the number one dude is doing. But at the end of the day, like, it's up to the number one dude to finish the job and, like, hit the shot and all that stuff. And there are times when they don't hit the shot and they're going to yell at me, but I know it's not me they're really yelling at, but I got to be that dude to take the hit, and I got to have thick enough skin and be understanding enough that it's like, I know you're not mad at me, and I know you know that I'm trying to get the best out of you. So it was such the opposite of comedy. It was easy to fall in love with.
So the requirements for for being a comedian, it is, that's a profession, and I hear it.
Yeah.
But man, when I'm watching and listening to you talk as a caddy, right? Man, you just talk differently. You glow a little bit. And I would say it is a profession, but it's something that you generally love to your core.
Yeah, that's why I said, like, when people ask if I had to choose one, I can't choose one. Comedy's in my soul. And it is for me when I get on stage, it's therapy for me. No matter how my day or month is going, like the fact that I can get on stage and vent and let loose. And like when I'm on stage, I don't work for Disney, right? Like I ain't got 9 bosses that I got to work. Oh, what is this gonna? They might not like it, And in caddying, it's one person that's my boss that I need to be concerned with. But also in comedy, if I say something that comes out not funny, I'm responsible for it. But it's up to me then to make the adjustment to make sure the next joke hits hard. In caddying, it's up to me to make sure my player has the best to his ability in that moment. So when he doesn't have his A game, can I get his best B game? And what can I say to him to get his best B game out at that moment? And so they're such opposite things.
Yeah.
Talking about both of them get me lit up. Like, just because in comedy too, one of the biggest compliments I get in comedy is after a show when somebody says, man, I was having a really crappy month, weekend, week, day. I was in a bad place mentally, and you helped me get out of that. Like just you being on stage and hearing you talk. Like that's powerful to know that you can make people feel better. It's powerful. And that's in golf now that I'm on the side of like doing broadcasts and stuff. The biggest compliment I get is I don't even like golf, but I like hearing you talk about it. Like when I go, there's nothing like being in the airport or being like, I went up to Atlanta and was doing some stuff up like the Mercedes-Benz thing and like having a whole bunch of brothers come up and be like, bruh, I hated golf before. I couldn't stand people talking about it, but I seen you and like, I'm feeling it now. Like I'm going to give it a chance. Like that for me is powerful.
Absolutely.
It means a lot,
So you talk about, a whole bunch of brothers doing that, man. What are some of the golf myths that are out there?
Well, a lot of it has to do with the players. So people think like a lot of the players are vanilla and boring and like all because of how you see them on TV. But like that's the one thing where I like being out on the golf course with some of these dudes, because then I get to tell some of the stories that we talk about on the golf course, Like people are like Tiger, when he gets locked in and focused, like he's just laser. And like this dude tells more jokes on the golf course in between shots. Guys like I'm looking now, like John Rahm is one. Him and Ricky Fowler and like Justin Thomas. Those dudes are hilarious. Just even on the course when they're playing. My friends, here's a big myth. So my friends who have come out to golf tournaments who never been out there before, when they get to walk inside the ropes, sometimes you have to come do this.
Oh, sometimes. I may take you up on that.
You got it. I'm serious because it's so different. It's so different in person watching these dudes. And one of the big myths is like, yo, these dudes, when they're inside the ropes, like they don't talk to nobody. Nah.
Yeah, that's what you think.
You think.
Because the people holding the signs always telling us, shh,
quiet, please. Right.
Yes.
But that's only for a moment. It's that one moment when the guy's hitting the shot, when they do laser focusing and they do. But imagine trying to hold a fist for 4.5 hours. Like, you're not going to be able to do it. Even if boxers will tell you, like, they don't keep their fist as tight as possible the whole fight, you'd not be able to do it. So when golfers are walking off a green to a tee, like, we talk all the time, and my friends would be like, yo, I can't believe so-and-so just talked to you walking over. Like, well, yeah, why wouldn't he? Like, that don't make no sense, right? Like, when after you come off the field on offense and stuff, yeah, you're going to kind of talk about the play and some things that you see, but I guarantee you don't talk football 24/7, even during the whole game, right? Y'all going to at some point be like, yo, I hit this Chinese place last night that was off the chain. We gotta go hit right. Like,
Yeah,
you could be like, yo, did you see that movie or something, or the Netflix, whatever? Yeah.
You do talk about real life just for a split second, just because football is coming at you, right?
Right. It's much fast. Football could be a bad example because
but it's like,
but you still got it right for that second you let go.
There's been times we come off the field, good or bad play, and then get a whiff, be like, hey, dog, you smell that? Just like, oh, and somebody be like,
you just crop dusted the bench over here.
No, I'm talking about like you'll smell food, right? You'll be like,
bro.
Yeah. You'll be like, oh, you'll be like, bro, we can't get none, so stop it. Stop. Right? And then that's what you hit. You'll hit the trainer. Can I get a Gatorade bar? You know, can I get some orange slices? Like, it's so food, like you'll sit there and be eating that Gatorade bar, bro. Like that thing's the
best ribeye you ever seen.
A Reuben or something, just something like right. But then, like at halftime, I used to sometimes bring a little peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And so we'd be at halftime, I'd be like, man, I'm sick and tired of these Gatorade bars. Let me get this P&J.
Bro, there's a dude on the PGA Tour, Morgan Hoffman, that my man had a little like warming oven in the golf bag. Whoa. And he used to put like meal stuff in there.
Oh, okay.
Bananas during golf. Like there's a lot of eating going on in golf.
What's the meal stuff? What I didn't catch
like
that.
He would have like full on sliced up steak.
Ooh.
And like green beans and stuff like that in there.
And
he was on such a health kick at the time. It was crazy, like how he was real healthy stuff. Like, yeah, it was bananas. And I always used to make fun of his caddy, but like, how much extra does that oven weigh you carrying around in there? Until for like a minute, they came out with bags that have TVs on them too, that would have advertisements and stuff.
Wow.
And one of my boys, hey, should I get one of those? No, because I ain't carrying unless you get a flip cart. No, not carrying around no TV. Get out of here. You crazy? They didn't last very long.
So tell us some of the golfers that you've caddied for and some of the golfers.
If I go backwards from the last dude I caddied for full time on the PGA Tour, it is Scott Piercy.
How was he? What was good and the bad about him?
Man, I'm not throwing my boys under the bus like that.
I'm not talking about the good and the bad, like he's a dirtbag. He's this. I'm talking about as a caddy, like his good
what
parts
made it
of
easy to caddy for him? What made it hard to caddy for him?
Yes.
Okay, so with Piercy, what made it easy to caddy for him was he hit it a long, long way. The hardest part at the time for Piercy was when he got in a bad spot in his head, getting him out of it. Oh my God,
difficult.
Bruh. I mean, and he would do some things too where I would have to like clean up afterwards. You know what I mean? Like slam stuff down into greens. And you had to hope like the volunteers didn't say nothing because we're like, bro, you trying to get fined? Stupid. Stop. What are you doing? And then I'd be there trying to fix it before I got to run up with the golf bag. I'm like, come on, man. He threw a putter one time in the wrong direction. I left it too. That was and he was like, you're not going to get that? I was like, I don't care if you throw a club, but you better throw it the direction we walk in. I'm going that way. Like,
you're not backtracking?
Not over there. We going that way. So, yeah. It was bananas.
So you were uncooperating caddy.
Bro, most caddies are like that too. Like, I don't care. You can stick a club down in the ground. It's going to take me a minute to like get that thing and then clean all the dirt off of it. Stuff. We need a new towel after that hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gomez did that to me one time too. He threw a 7-iron up in a tree. And he was like, how you getting that down? What do you mean, how am I getting it down? I did not throw that up in the tree. Your little monkey ass can go climb up there and get it down your own self. I will be at the green waiting for you with a wedge since you missed the green here on this par 3. Sorry, not sorry. Right? So I don't know what to tell you, dog. We laugh about it now. Kevin Streelman. So it was Pearson. And then Streelman.
Hold on, dog. Hold on. You know how impressive that is? That'd be like, I'm getting mad and I do something, and then the equipment manager says, yeah, your face mask fell off. but
right, or it's
I'm not
crooked.
yeah,
Can you
I'm
imagine
not-
if your face mask
Yeah,
like had
I'm
a
not
hole in the
fixing it.
top left?
I'm not fixing it because you decided to try to run that guy over.
Right.
You figure it out.
Exactly. Right.
Oh my gosh.
Only one of us tried to pancake the kicker. And now got a crooked face mask where the O is in the middle, pointing this way. Be like, I am not fit. Right there's the wrench, bro. You better do it quickly because it's third down for the up there. You need to hustle. Yeah. I mean, but that's part of the caddy and stuff where in the moment, like you just both player and caddy are so fuming mad. And then later on, you look back and laugh. You're like, I can't believe we were that stupid. And it's funny, like even a couple of holes later, you laugh at it. Wow. You know, Kevin Streelman was the next dude, and me and him won the Kodak Challenge together. Okay. And for Streels, the hardest thing for him at the time was like, I want you as a player to be perfect. You are infallible. So when something goes wrong, like there was a time where we weren't sure about the wind. And I was like, the wind, this is what the wind is doing. And he hit the shot and he hit it a little bit lower. He lowered the trajectory, which makes the ball go a little further and the wind doesn't bother as much. So it goes through the wind. And at the time he hits it over the back of this green and he's like wearing me out. Like, man, the wind, that was not the right wind direction. You called that wrong. Blah, blah, just doing that. And I'm like, I know, man, I know. But now after the hole's over, we're walking to this next hole, which is a par 3. And on the walk from the green to the tee, he looks over at me. He goes, sorry, man, the wind, you were right on the wind. It wasn't you. And I put the bag down and looked at him as dead serious as I could. And I go, don't you ever apologize to me again on the course, ever. Do you understand me? Don't ever do that. And he looked at me like, okay. And afterwards, I was like, listen, man, when we're in the heat of battle, I need you to believe that you can't do anything wrong. I need you to feel like a superhero. I understand that you're not, and you understand that you're not. But in the moment, I need you to be there to do that. I need you to know that I know that it's not my fault. But I need you to think it is in the moment. We can, after we're done with 18 and you sign that scorecard, bro, we're back to being best friends. We're like, and we can go, when we're at dinner, we can talk about that and stuff like that. But in the moment, don't ever do that, because as soon as you get off that razor blade's edge of you can't do anything wrong and you start thinking you might do something wrong, then I don't get your best. And you start doubting what you're doing. And like, and then we can't win, which that's a no for me. Your performance affects my check. Like, my kids like shoes too. So
become real fond of this electricity thing. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't. That's what, like, I laugh now where golf is when guys are like, this is all about legacy. Really? Call the electric company and tell me you're gonna play with your legacy. Be like, hey, y'all turn my cable off. Hey, Cox, check it out. No, this month I would like to pay with my legacy. Is that hello? They're not hearing me right now. I don't think they're taking legacy on credit. On how much is my legacy credit?
Are you gonna send a Venmo with legacy?
Yeah, that's what I write on it. I just write a check. I just wrote legacy on the whole check. No even amount or something. Just the month. Crazy. That's crazy. But that's the difference. That's like, that's that razor edge of being there in the moment for golf, man.
What's the hardest part about adapting to a new guy when you go from one guy's bag to another guy's bag? Like, do you find it similar to reading a different room in a new city?
Oh my gosh, yeah. There are certain things, like when I caddied for Daniel Chopra, I could have never looked at him and been like, man, you suck. I could have never said something like him or Omar Uresti or something. Those guys, I could have never said anything like that to them because they would have fired me on the spot. They wouldn't be able to. That's not how I was going to get
that's not. Yeah, that's not how they operate.
That's not the slap in the face for them. That's not the snap you out of that moment. That's the slap in the face and be like, hey man, you should go right.
Police.
Yeah. You'd be like, oh yeah, Timmy, would you like to put the bib on the carrot? That guy is not nice. And so that's knowing, but that's also the part I love. It's that psychology of it. It's like, what do I say different to this guy to get the same best out of him?
Yeah.
Or like, what do I got to say to bring him down a little bit if he's too jacked up? Yeah. Or what do I do when the guy's like a guy like Omar, who like in the beginning of a tournament, like he would have his chin on his chest and be walking all slow and stuff like that. And now he's 20 yards behind everybody, including the sign people and stuff. And like I would put the bag down. I put the bag down one time in Tucson and looked at him and did the line for Friday. What, you gonna cry when we get to the car? And everybody outside the rope started laughing, and he looked up and was like, and now he ran because he knew I made fun of him in front of everybody. Wow. And they made him laugh, but then he birdied the next 2 holes, didn't it? 2 or 3 holes. Because it was like, but if I couldn't have done something like that to Piercy or Chopra or like Streels, it would have never worked. So that is the hardest part. Is like
learning how to push their button. So
you want to know what makes a great caddy? A great caddy is like,
that's what I was about to ask.
That's what makes the best. The best caddies know what to say to a player when, and sometimes when so much of your instinct wants you to say something, and it's when to not say nothing. Mm. And there are a lot of moments that are like that, where it's like most people in that moment would be like, come on, man, it's going to be okay. Like they want to do the rah-rah thing. And sometimes in those moments, it's better not to say nothing. Mm-hmm. Don't even look at him. Like, let my man sit there and stew for a minute. Because I know sometimes stewing is the kick in the behind that the player needs. Sometimes not hearing that rah-rah. Like, they just looking at you. And you like, what? Right? Like, I'm sure,
am I supposed to help you?
Right. Like, hey, you know what? Get yourself out. Get yourself out. I'm right here. I'm with you, but get yourself out. And sometimes dudes, they don't need that. Sometimes guys need, when they look over at you, to look at them like, hey, man, it's all right, man. And you don't even have to say that. You just got to look at them like, it's going to be all right.
Yeah, we got this.
We're good. We're good. Right? And then that reassurance is like all they need. And it's those, for a caddy, those are the razor thin moments and understandings of like how your player's mind works as well. And then that's reading body languages and stuff. And that's one of the things like that I did take from comedy to caddying. And that's like reading crowds, reading people's reaction. Are they sitting with their arms crossed like this, or they have their arms down? Like, are they leaning forward a little bit, or are they sitting back in their chair just a little bit? And those are like all types of little subtle things that you start seeing and learning when you're performing to kind of know where people are. And it's the same with golfers. Like, if they have a bad shot, when they're walking to the next shot, are they walking with determination? Like, I got this. Like, I see. Or are they like chin on the chest, shoulder slump just a little bit, walking a little slower than normal, you know? So then you kind of see that and you go, hey, come on. Or you say something that doesn't even have anything to golf. Chopra one time, we had to wait on a par 5. And he was like getting jacked up because that's how he was. He would get real jacked up if we had to wait for a while to hit a shot, because he was a fast player. And I knew it was going to be a while before we had to hit this shot. So there's a lake on the left side of this par 5, and we're in the fairway, and we're going to be there for a minute. And I see him like wanting to go through yardages and stuff like that. I'm like, come on, man. So I look over and I go, hey, look at them Pelicans. And he looks over, huh? Why? And he looked, yeah. And I was like, how come you never see a Pelican with a crooked neck? Like, as much as they dive down, you think at one point, one of them either going to hit the water wrong, or like the Pelican friend's not going to tell them that part of the lake got a little frozen part of it. Yeah. See that Pelican hit and be like, hey, that was not funny, fellas, man. You should have told me there was ice there. And like, he just bust out laughing, and we're laughing about that. And then after he's done laughing, I look up and I was like, all right, let's do this yardage. Let's go. And boom, hits it on the green, makes an eagle and stuff like that. And it's like, and the other thing that's cool in those moments too, like, he doesn't even have to say anything after that hole. That's my job. That's what I do. Unlike like Omar Uresti, when the first time we went through Q school, when we got to the end of Q school, my man hugged me. We made it in by one shot to keep his card and go back to the PGA Tour. And he hugged me and whispered in my ear, thanks, man. And when he did it, I literally broke down and just started crying on the spot. I had to go over to a golf cart. I sat on the floor of a golf cart because I could finally let all that emotion out. But the fact that he said thank you in that moment, realizing that it was because of me and what I had to do with him psychologically to get him across the finish line, the fact that he thanked me in that moment was like, meant more than anything to me.
Now, this may sound like a dumb question, but I'll ask it anyway.
There are no dumb questions, only dumb people that ask questions. No, I'm just playing.
Bryce DeChambeau, you hear about all the different things. Like I read an article that his caddy would like, they freeze golf balls and put them in mud and all that stuff.
No, they would put them in salt water and float them to try and make sure that the equator of the golf ball was correct. He would put a dot on it and then spin it in salt water and stuff. There was, all of that. There was a reason that he's called the scientist. He did all kinds of stuff.
And how I'm not good enough at golf to really know what that's gonna give me a reading on.
For you, nothing. Nothing. It don't.
Going into that tree or that tree, yeah.
Right, yeah, it don't. No, and you know what, though? For most golfers don't want to go down a rabbit hole like that because it puts too much information in their head.
Yes.
Where Bryson is the type of dude
that's why I can't eat pork.
Yeah.
Too much information.
Bacon? Come on, man.
We eat beef bacon.
You eat what?
Beef bacon.
What's beef bacon?
Bacon,
what have you been holding out on me, bro?
It's beef bacon. It's actually pretty good, bro.
You need to send me some.
Okay. I'll say you can. Well, sometimes if the Whole Foods is running out here, the wife will order some, and it costs almost more to get it FedEx frozen than it actually costs.
Whole Foods got it?
Whole Foods has it, yeah.
I'm gonna go to Whole Foods.
Yes, it's beef bacon.
Okay.
But the reason I don't eat pork bacon, would you like to know why? Well, I don't eat pork at all.
Why?
Because pigs have no sweat glands.
Okay.
They can't get rid of toxins.
I don't know if you noticed, but pigs pee and they poop too.
But they don't sweat.
Okay. So the toxins come out through the pee and the...
Nah, not all of them, brother. No. Mm-mm.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I mean, I had a pig as a pet a while back, way back in the day. There's so much you don't even know. Look, I was the curator of herpetology at the North Museum back in the day. So reptiles and amphibians. I had a potbelly pig named Sigmund. Like, it was still to this day probably the smartest pet I've ever had. This dude was, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But potbelly pigs, they're not the eatable kind. So I would eat pork in front of him. I don't even care.
That's cruel.
Your cousin is delicious, but he's not as smart as you, so we good.
Look at this
I would try that beef bacon.
Became a sandwich.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, Bryson DeChambeau is like one of those dudes who he just needs the more information, and the reason he needs more information is because then he's only processing information and he's not thinking about the shot. Where other guys I just need to think about the shot. I don't want to think about like 27 different things in that moment, where for Bryson to perform his best, he's going through so many calculations that the shot is just part of calculations.
Wow.
And that's the opposite of how 99% of golfers play golf. That's his processing system. Yeah.
And his routine.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. That's just part of his routine. Where other guys is like, at the end, there's plenty of guys now, you'd be like, how do you hit a draw? Like, really, what do you? And they're like, I just think draw, and it's going to turn from right to left. Or I think fade. And Fuzzy freaked me out one time when he told me that. I was like, look, I was sitting there staring at you, and you were putting on that clinic, and you hit 5 draws and 5 fades, and your feet didn't change, and I don't think your grip changed. And he was like, I literally just thought fade or draw. And I was like, okay, I ain't got that.
Wow. So what's some of the fun part about being a caddy on the PGA? Like, not the job part, but some of the experiences. Because for the first time, when we were down at the Super Bowl, I've been to the Wells Fargo here, right? But I've never been, other than like kind of like the opening day where, players are just practicing and I watch that, but I've never been to
Game day.
A game day, and Phoenix Open was different. I did not feel like I was at a golf tournament.
No. Those two tournaments I tell people all the time you got to go to. It's the Waste Management, the WM Phoenix Open, and the Masters, because they're the exact opposite. Like, going to the Masters, that's like going to church on Easter Sunday and Christmas Eve combined. Like, it's hallowed ground. You wear your best clothes. You're on your best behavior. You're walking on eggshells. And WM Phoenix Open is like going to...
Well, they had a DJ.
Yes, that's on Wednesday out on the 16th.
Yeah, but the part that I loved about going there is the Waste Management compared to the Wachovia, the Wells Fargo is. I saw it. I just didn't see different kind of, watchers, ongoers. You could tell I saw different ages. So just, I saw male, female, young, old. It wasn't like I saw straight line, this and that. You just saw everything. You saw all walks of life.
Yes.
That you generally don't see at golf.
Correct.
And so that was the amazing part. And then what was even cooler is when I go into the golf store, into the actual souvenir store, and the style of clothes for it varied. Like, you had a hoodie and you had multiple snapbacks and sweatshirts and vests and busyness.
And then colors and stuff that you ain't seen. Yeah. Like it ain't just navy blue and khaki.
Yes.
Right? Like, it ain't just
or gray or white.
Right. Yes.
Right. It was like some of them actually looks like, I think Coley got one of his shirts right now from
those lines were crazy. I wanted
their lines were crazy, but I'm just talking about
YC was looking at something. He was like, I'm not waiting in this line.
Right. I was looking at some stuff, but I'm using your shirt as an example. That would not be at the Masters, right?
Well,
that his type of shirt.
It wouldn't be prevalent at the Masters. The Masters even now is starting slowly but surely, because they do everything slowly to come around to stuff like that. So you'll see but the funny thing is, when they have stuff like that there, it's the first thing to sell out.
Oh yeah.
The first thing to sell out. Because everybody there under the age of 55 is like, yeah, give me that. Like, I'm gonna definitely rock that. Just because when you have something like that on, people are gonna be like, yo, is that a Masters shirt? Like, yeah, they're already sold out, so don't even try and get one. Sorry.
Oh man.
So like the Waste Management and the Masters are such opposite ends of the spectrum for golf. And it's beautiful to have both of those. And there are a lot of tournaments that are trying to lean a little bit more towards that WM Phoenix Open. They want more of that Scottsdale vibe to it. Now, it's very difficult to do, and you don't want like that one crazy hole every tournament. Correct. That's like 16, like the Coliseum, the par 3. Like, that's too much.
Yeah.
That's not what the PGA Tour is going for. And it's not even what Live is going for. Like, even though they got music playing, like, and I know when you watch it, sometimes it sounds like there's music on every hole, but there really isn't. There's only music at specific spots. And then you don't hear it anywhere else on the golf course. But they're doing a more laid back version of golf that has pieces of the party atmosphere where guys can wear shorts and stuff. And the tour is like, hey, listen, you can wear shorts, during the practice rounds. And so, like, they're going through a transitional phase now too.
So do you think that transitional phase 2 has been caused by the departure of players?
Yes, man. I love when guys now would be like, we had things kind of moving forward. It was just not that fast here on the PGA Tour. And it's like, what they sound like? They sound like a dude who wasn't expecting a girl to break up with him.
Yeah.
Right? And then afterwards, you go through that point, you be like, man, that girl, I hate her, right? That was that, I hate her. And everybody even talk to her. You're not even my friend no more. That was see you about. And then the next phase is, what? She didn't even notice, but I was working on myself. Like, but I was trying to be a better person. And it was going to be happening anyway. And now it's like, hey, man, I thought all that stuff that you were saying before that you didn't like about over there, like, why you keep copying it? You like doing all that same?
Yeah.
stuff. You be like, hey, you know, over there it's all about the money. But like, well, then how come you playing for so much more money now? You just be like, you know, we not here. It's not about the money. Hey, check that closet. How much is in that closet? We found an extra $627 million. Over there, you be like, those dudes all play each other at the same time all week. Anybody want to see that? Yo, what are we gonna do? Hey, we're gonna have these events where it's all the same guys playing each other
at the same time.
Because that's what everybody wants to see. But like, I thought you just said that wasn't what I thought you said that wasn't what we're gonna do. So like everything that is happening right now on the tour, especially the money stuff on it too, that's all live related.
It's been great, man. We appreciate you coming on and
come on, bro. This has been fantastic. This is so much fun.
Man, this is fun. So much fun.
Now we all need to find a way to be on the golf course.
Okay.
We got to get on the golf course. I need anytime you want to come to a PGA Tour event.
Okay.
Yeah, PGA Tour. We got to get you like.
Hey, when you coming down to we got to link up and see when you coming close to Charlotte or something.
Oh, for Wells Fargo, yeah, huh?
Okay.
Yeah.
That may give me an excuse to actually go out there then.
Seriously, when you come to a PGA Tour event, like seeing those dudes like on the driving range and then like inside the ropes, and it's such a different atmosphere than seeing them on TV, and it's so much cooler because then it gives you, for me, it's like it gives you a reason then to cheer for dudes that you never would have cheered for before.
Absolutely.
Like you meet a couple of dudes and you're like, yo, I never knew anything about this dude, but he was cool and fun and like. Yeah. Now you see his name on the leaderboard, you're like, oh, hell yeah, that's my dog right there.
Yeah, yep.
That's what makes it so good. It makes it so good.
Well, cool, man. Well, appreciate it. Thanks for giving us your time, man. If you need anything from me, man, don't hesitate to reach out, bro.
You know, we both have them friends that'll be like, yo, I'm a holla, blah, blah. And you know, you ain't never going to hear.
Just all I would say is hit me the week or a couple of weeks before that Thursday night that you know.
Yes.
So I can take care of it. But if you hit me up the day before, I'm gonna leave you on red. I can't help you.
That's the same as I tell people PGA Tour. If somebody I had a dude one time hit me up from a baseball team, was like, yo, we're gonna be in Atlanta close to the Masters. So I'm thinking maybe Tuesday you can get me over there. And I was like, cool. What day am I pitching on Friday? Like, what time is the game? I'm pitching on Friday, right? If you think I can get you Masters tickets, then you're gonna let me take the mound.
Cut to it. Let's get down to it. Cut to it. Cut to it. Cut to it. Let's get down to it.